Man, what is good, YouTube? I decided to make a 16-man bracket of the most dangerous fighters in the UFC. So I got 16 of the most dangerous fighters. But anyways, we're going to get straight into it. The damage is up 15% to make everything go a little bit quicker. Because I noticed in the previous ones, the previous tournament, there was a lot of decisions. So I tried to slow that down. But anyways, let's get straight into it. In the first matchup, the game was already broke. I had to restart the fight because look at this. Tom Aspinall just ended up doing this in the T position. I don't even know what was going on, but anyways, we restart that fight. Alright, but now in the first matchup of the day, we got Tom Aspinall taking on Ilia Toria. This fight started off fast. Tom Aspinall lands a big hook that sits down Ilia Toria, but Ilia Toria comes back with his own right hook that sits him down. Ilia ended up falling him right to the ground, but after a couple ground and pound shots, he just let him up right away. Ilia goes to the leg, then he tries to go to the body, but eats a big overhand for it that rocks him. But Tom wanted to get this fight to the ground, so he ends up shooting a double leg, but Ilia puts him straight into a guillotine, but Tom Aspinall hops right out of it. Tom Aspinall tries to do some ground and pound, but Ilia uses that to get back up. But as soon as they get back up, Ilia lands a huge right hook that sits down Tom Aspinall. He goes to the ground, tries to get some ground and pound off, but Tom Aspinall reverses the position as he goes for an elbow. And then he transitions into a triangle, but instead of doing the triangle, he goes to top mount instead. He postures up to let a couple ground and pound shots go, but then he ends up just going for an arm bar. But this time, he actually commits to the armbar. He locks it in, and he almost takes Ilia's submission bar out in the first try. And Tom wasted no time. He postures up, lands another straight right, and goes straight back to the armbar. Tom Aspinall struggled, and he took down his stam all the way to a free submission, but instead he takes his back instead. I don't know what was happening, but that ends round one. Tom tries to start round two with a glove touch, but instead eats two hooks to get sitting down. But then after like 2 minutes on the ground, Tom Aspinall grabs the leg and reverses position. Tom ended up getting top mount. He goes for a triangle once again. Ilia's bar is low, but Ilia takes his stam all the way down, and he uses this to take Tom Aspinall's back. But Tom Aspinall ends up reversing position right away. He gets into full guard. He tries to let an elbow go, but Ilia takes his back. Ilia got in top mount. He let a punch go, but then he went straight into the armbar. He's trying to steal Tom Aspinall's move, but he got his stam low. And he didn't pull a Tom. He went for the armbar. He didn't take his back, and he actually he got Tom Aspinall's meter pretty low, and that ended off round two. Now that brings us to round three. They glove touch, and then they start swinging right away. They both land some big hooks. Ilia ends up landing his own hook, though, and a combo right behind it that sits down Tom. Ilia started landing some ground and pound off, did nothing with it, but Tom Aspinall goes for a triangle, but Ilia takes his stam all the way down, and he takes his back. But then after like a minute and a half on the ground, Tom Aspinall ends up actually taking his back, and then he went for a rear naked choke. He takes Ilia's stam all the way down, and this time he actually goes for the submission, and he gets the submission win. Alright, now in the next fight in the tournament, we got Bo Nickal taking on Shavkat Rakhmonov. Bo Nickal clinches up. He shoots a takedown. Shavkat stuffs the first one. He ends up going for a double flying knee and rocks Bo Nickal bad. Then Shavkat throws a spinning back fist, but Bo Nickal hits him with a lead hook that rocks him. Shavkat goes for a flying knee. Bo Nickal just moves his head out the way, shoots a double leg, and gets him to the ground. And then he tries to go for an arm triangle, but Shavkat uses this to take Bo Nickal's back. But Shavkat didn't want to play this fight on the ground, so he ends up just letting Bo Nickal up. Bo wasted no time trying to get this fight right back to the ground. He shoots a double leg, but it's straight into a guillotine. He tries to get out. Shavkat denies it. He goes for the guillotine, and he gets Bo Nickal, and his bar is almost done already. Then he gets to the top mount. He lets an elbow go, a big elbow that rocks Bo Nickal. And then he postures up, and he goes ahead, and he does it once again, and that ends off round one. And now that starts off round two. Shavkat goes for a Superman punch straight right, and then an uppercut that sits him down. Shavkat follows him down. He tries to get that ground and pound going. He tries to get the elbow going again, but Bo Nickal just takes his back. And then a minute passed on the ground. Shavkat ended up taking his back right back. Then after like 20 seconds, Shavkat gets to the top mount, but he gets pushed straight off. But then he goes for a front kick and a straight right behind it, right when they got on the feet. That rocks Bo Nickal. Bo thought he was Drickus running in with some shots, but he hit a double jab that sits him down. But Shavkat ended up following him right to the ground. But Bo Nickal used this to take his back. And just like the Contender Series, once he got the top mount, he used this to go for a triangle, but he ended up not getting it. He just tried to reverse position, but Shavkat reversed position on him. And that's where he rocked Bo a couple times, and then he ended up just letting him up from top mount. I don't know what he was thinking, but he sat him down with a Superman jab, so at least he got some damage off, but that ended off round two. Round two was passing. There wasn't a lot of damage going off on the feet, but Shavkat did end up landing a big spinning wheel kick and shit. Bo ended up shooting a takedown, and he got him to the ground. Bo Nickal, he postured up, he was on the back, and he just started letting some punches go, and Shavkat was getting rocked, and then his block was done, so he ended up actually getting almost finished. And whatever the position was, Bo Nickal was just letting punches go. He was not giving Shavkat a break. He ended up getting a top mount. He started going with the elbows, doing what Shavkat was doing, but he was doing it right back to him, and he was doing it better. And then round 3, he pretty much just continued to beat him for the rest of round 3, but he took his back. He ended up going for submission, but it was a little too late. The fight was already over. And there was a lot of damage on the fight, but that brought us to a first decision on the tournament. And I wasn't thinking, I accidentally skipped the part where they're raising the hands, but anyways, we got this part. I'm going to show you all the scorecards. It was 29-27. He got a 10-8 in the round 2. Surprisingly, there wasn't a lot of damage done, but Pereira ended up going for a double flying knee. He got rocked by a big hook. Then 2 minutes later, he does it again, and he gets rocked once again. And then another 2 minutes pass. Pereira ends up lunging in with a big left hook. He rocks him, tries to go for a head kick, but that ends off round 1. In round 2, Pereira started where he left off. He hit Yuri with a big left hook that rocks him. Yuri comes in again, gets hit by a left hook once again that sits him down. Yuri stands up. He tries to get his get back, comes in, and then eats another left hook that rocks him. There was no slowing down. He lands a huge head kick that drops him, and that was the rest of the fight. In this next fight, we got a kind of weird one. We got Makhachev taking on Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker stuffs the first takedown. He ends up landing a couple knees, but Islam shot once again, and this time he got him to the ground. Once Islam got him down, he tries to go for a Von Blue choke, but Johnny Walker, he uses this, pushes off the hip, he runs his feet, and he reverses position. But he didn't keep the position for too long. Makhachev ended up taking his leg and bringing him to side control. But Makhachev wasn't able to keep him down either, as Johnny Walker sits out and stands up. They got to the feet. Johnny Walker throws a huge overhand, but it was nowhere near Islam. Islam took him down, got into top mount, rocked him with an elbow, and kept him there for the rest of round 1. Johnny Walker tries to start off round 2 with a huge Superman elbow, gets nothing out of it, but it's okay because he ends up rocking him with a big right hook. Walker tried to keep up the pressure. He throws a front kick into a spinning back fist, but Islam hits him with a huge combo that rocks him badly. Islam moves out of the way of a shot. Johnny Walker tries to go for an uppercut. He eats a straight left instead, and then Islam shoots a single leg that gets him down. And then Islam basically kept him there for the rest of round 2. Starting off round 3, Johnny Walker throws a huge head kick, gets nothing out of it. Islam rocks him with a straight left, ends up shooting a single leg, and gets him down to the ground. Islam kept him there for like 2 minutes, lands a huge elbow. He rocks Johnny Walker, but then he ends up using the top mount to go for a triangle, but he ends up just getting picked up. Johnny Walker slams on the ground and reverses position. And then the fight stayed on the ground for the rest of round 3, and we went to a decision.
Judges scored this contest 29-28, 30-27, and 30-27. For the winner by unanimous decision, Islam Makhachev.
Alright, in this next fight on the other side of the bracket, we got Justin Gaethje taking on Hamzat Chimaev. Hamzat Chimaev, he ends up shooting a takedown. He gets Gaethje to the ground. Gaethje, he sits out, he reverses position, but he just lets Hamzat up. Hamzat, he wasted no time. He shoots a single leg, and he gets Gaethje down to the ground once again. And then he tries to go for an arm triangle. But instead of that, he postures up. He lets some shots off, but Justin Gaethje uses that to get up, and he lands a huge overhand that rocks Hamzat right away, which makes Hamzat shoot a takedown, and he actually gets it even though he had low stam. But Justin Gaethje ended up taking his back, and they were there for the rest of round 1. Starting off round 2, Gaethje lands a nice body shot. Hamzat tried to get his own body work going, but Gaethje hit him with a big lead hook that rocks him and let that pressure go. And like usual, Hamzat did not want to go on the feet. He shoots a double leg. He gets Gaethje to the ground, but Gaethje reverses position once again. And then like 30 seconds pass. Hamzat, he ended up reversing position too. He takes his back, and then he ends up going for an armbar. He got Gaethje's stam all the way down, but instead he goes for his back. I don't know what's up with the AI in submissions in this game, but they don't take submissions, but he kept him there for the rest of round 2. Starting off round 3, he tries to go for a takedown, eats an uppercut, and a couple more shots right behind it. Gaethje styles on him with a huge front kick, and he actually rocks Hamzat. And then Hamzat, he tries to stand, but he ends up just eating a huge overhand that rocks him. I don't know why he is still standing. He ends up getting sat down, and then Gaethje tries to go for the finish, and he's letting more shots off and go. Rocks him once again in the clinch, and he was not letting up. He kept the shots going. He drops him once again with a lead hook, tries to go for a kick. And then Hamzat finally shoots. But this time, Gaethje, he stuffs it. He lets him right back up. We got a minute left in the third round. He goes for a lunging left hook. He sits down Hamzat, and then he lets some punches go. And then he kept him there for the rest of round 3. Hamzat tried to go for a guillotine. Gaethje got out of it. And that brought us to a decision after a pretty dominant round 3.
Judges scored this contest 29-28. Declaring the winner by unanimous decision, Justin the Highlight Gaethje. All
right, in this next one, we got an interesting one. We got Dricus du Plessis versus Derrick Lewis, he is not going to stand with Derrick Lewis. He took him to the ground. He goes for an armbar, got his stam all the way down, and he goes for the armbar. And surprisingly, Dricus has more IQ than the other AIs. He actually goes for the submission once again, but he ends up taking his back because he was the one getting his stam low, but Derrick Lewis actually hopped out of it. That was the end of round 1. Round 3, Derrick Lewis lands a huge overhand while Dricus tries to go for a leg kick that rocks him. The Black Beast, he tries to get fancy, but Dricus makes him pay for it as he gets rocked. But he got his shots off. He didn't want to stand with him. He ends up shooting the takedown, and he gets him down. And then it looks like Derrick Lewis is trying to go for a leg lock, but instead he actually just uses it to get up. Nothing really happened for the rest of round 2, but starting off round 3, Derrick tries to let some shots go, but instead he eats a check hook that rocks him. But he comes back with his own overhand that rocks Dricus. He got him going backwards. They ended up getting to the clinch. Dricus ended up just landing a short uppercut that rocks Derrick, and he got him going backwards. Derrick misses a kick. Dricus lunges in and drops him badly. He sits him down. He was letting some ground and pound go. He kept him there for the rest of the round, and that brought us to a decision.
After 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for a decision. The judges score the contest 30-27, 30-26, and 30-26. For the winner by unanimous decision, Dricus Silva.
In this next fight, we got 2 of the most likable fighters in the UFC. We got Marlon Cheeto Vera taking on Charles Do Bronx Oliveira. Oliveira starts off shooting a takedown, but Marlon Vera ended up taking his back. But Do Bronx, he goes for the guillotine, but he just uses the guillotine to take top mount. And then he's going to posture up, lands a huge elbow on Marlon Vera, rocks him, and then he goes for an armbar. And then he runs down the stem. He ain't taking nobody's back. He's going to take that arm, and then he almost breaks it, but Marlon Vera barely survives with his submission meter, like, low as he can get. Vera's stand was pretty low. Oliveira, he tries to go for an armbar once again, but instead he just takes his back. And then he kept him there for the rest of the round. He went for another submission, but the clock ran out in the first round. They waste no time in round 3. They start trading, but Vera gets the better of it, and Oliveira gets the better of it and rocks him. But Do Bronx shot a takedown straight into a guillotine, but he reverses it into a Von Flue choke. But Cheeto Vera, he uses it, the reverse position. He gets into north-south. He ended up letting some shots go. But Do Bronx, he moves his head. He survives. He grabs onto the leg. He ended up putting him into a rubber guard, and then he just uses it. The reverse position, he gets it to top mount, and then he goes straight for the armbar. But Cheeto, he does end up getting out of it, and he reverses position, and then he kept Oliveira there for the rest of the round. Round 3, they came out hot again. Cheeto Vera goes for a huge high kick. Oliveira just didn't block it, and he ends up getting rocked. He shoots a takedown. He gets him to the ground. Cheeto, he moved the full guard, and then he ended up reversing position as Oliveira tried to go for an elbow. But Oliveira got his position back, and he started landing some shots go. And I don't know where he reversed position. I don't know, I don't know what happened to that clip. I just noticed that now. But anyways, he in side control, and he uses this to go for a Dorris choke, and he ends up submitting Cheeto Vera to move on to the next round. Alright, in this next fight, we got Sergey Papovich taking on Sean O'Malley. Sergey, he clinched up. He went for a body lock. He tried to trip Sean O'Malley, but he gets up, and Sean O'Malley makes him pay with it with a straight right and an uppercut that sits him down. But Sergey comes back with a huge overhand and an uppercut that sits O'Malley down. O'Malley was clinching up. He went for an uppercut. Sergey shoots a double leg. I don't know why Sergey's turned to a wrestler. He tries to let some shots go, but O'Malley just gets out of the way. But then he clinches up and he shoots a double leg. But O'Malley goes for a guillotine with only like a minute left, so it probably ain't too bad. But Sergey got out of the position. But O'Malley ended up taking his back, and then he kept him there for the rest of the round. Sergey reversed position, and that ends off round 1. Sergey starts off round 2 trying to go for an uppercut into a body kick, but he gets rocked. But then he comes back with a straight left into a high kick that sits down O'Malley, and then that ends off the fight. I don't know why Sergey's throwing kicks, but I guess he is, and he ended up getting the finish. And that brings us to the quarterfinal matchups where we got Asal taking on Shotz, Pereira taking on Makhachev, Gaethje versus Duplessis, and Oliveira taking on Papovich. Now we got Tom Aspinall versus Shotz that started off. Shotz misses a side kick. Tom Aspinall shoots a double leg, gets him to the ground, and then he ended up trying to go for a triangle, but he just uses it, the reverse position, but Shotz gets out of it and lets him up. Shotz lands a front kick, and then he moves out the way and then lands another front kick with a straight left right behind it that sits down Aspinall. He could have got up, but he waited there, so Shotz jumps on him. He goes for an elbow and then kept him there for the rest of the round. That brings us to round 2. Nothing really happened for the first half of round 2, but Aspinall ended up shooting a double leg. Shotz went for a guillotine, but Aspinall hops right out of it. And then he ended up going for his own submission. He goes for an armbar, and he goes for it. Shotz tries to escape, but Aspinall keeps him in it, and he actually takes down his submission bar like halfway. And he kept him there for the rest of the round. Alright, that brings us to round 3. Aspinall starts off with a jab. Shavkat hits him with a straight right and a head kick right behind it. Then Aspinall goes for a huge knee, catches Shavkat throwing an overhand. Shavkat throws a body front kick. He pushes down on Aspinall. He just stays there, so he jumps on top of him, gives him a little shot, and then goes right back up. Tom Aspinall shoots a double leg straight into a guillotine, but he gets out of it. And then he lets his own ground and pound go. Kept him there for the rest of the round, and that brought us to a decision. In the next one, we got Alex Pereira taking on Islam Makhachev. Makhachev shoots a double leg because he was not going to stand with Pereira. Islam gives up the position. He tries to go for a triangle. He had his stem. He could have got a free submission right there, but he switches it to an armbar, which actually works out better because he gets the armbar, and the armbar takes down the block. So that's an advantage for Islam. He also got his submission bar. He almost got him done with that submission bar. His stam's low. He started letting off some shots. Alex Pereira stood up. He tried to get some striking going, but Islam wasted no time. He took him down, and then he ended up going for a triangle with 30 seconds left. And he wasn't trying to use this to use a different position. He goes for the arm triangle. He gets it, and he submits Alex Pereira and moves on to the next round. In this next one, we got Gaethje and DDP. I don't know why they're the same height in this game. We got an 85er and a 55er looking the same size. But anyways, Gaethje starts off rocking him twice. He sits him down. Dricus shoots a double leg. He kept him down there for 3 minutes, but Gaethje eventually stood up. DDP, he goes for a big overhand. He rocks Gaethje, tries a head kick right behind it. And DDP with like just 10 seconds left, he goes for a huge overhand, rocks Gaethje bad, the end off round 1. Round 2 starts off hot. Gaethje goes for a huge overhand, rocks DDP. He kept up the pressure. He was letting punches go, rocks him with an uppercut, kept the combos going. DDP was still standing. He shot a double leg just like last round, kept him down there for 3 minutes. Gaethje stands up. And when both of these fighters are standing up for too long, one of them is going to get finished. Okay, in this next fight, we got Charles Oliveira taking on Sergey Papovich. A minute into round 1, Dubronx shoots a double leg. He gets him down, but like 20 seconds later, Sergey pops right back up. I mean, it was like 2 seconds later. Oliveira goes right back to a takedown, but Sergey reverses it. He hip tosses him, get him to side control. 2 minutes later, Charles Oliveira ended up reversing position and kept him there for the rest of round 1. Round 2, Sergey comes out with a big overhand, a check hook, and a straight left that sits him down, and he ended the fight right there. I don't know why Sergey did my boy Dubronx like that, but anyways, that brings us to the semifinals. We got Aspinall taking on Makhachev and Gaethje taking on Sergey. In the first fight in the semifinals, Makhachev lets some strikes go. He shoots a double leg. Tom Aspinall goes for a guillotine, but he uses it the reverse position. He lets some punches go, but Islam, if you're on the ground with him too long, he's going to end up reversing position, which that's exactly what he did. And then he ended up letting his own shots go, lands a big elbow that rocks Aspinall. Then he ended up going for a triangle. He had a free submission, but instead of taking it, he switches it to an armbar. His stam's low again. He had another free submission, but instead he takes his back and kept him there for the rest of the round. That wraps out round 1. Starting off round 2, Makhachev shoots again, but Aspinall, he catches it once again, goes for the guillotine. Islam gets out of it and then pretty much keeps him there for the rest of the round for a snooze fest. He went for a submission at the end, got nothing out of it. Round 3, Islam, he shoots a takedown, gets his back, but throws a knee instead. Then Tom Aspinall ended up shooting a takedown. Makhachev reverses him. I don't know why he's shooting after 2 of not the best rounds on the ground, but Makhachev, he ended up going for an arm triangle. Tom Aspinall, he gets out of it. Makhachev ended up reversing position. He got into top mount. He tries to go for a triangle. He switches it to an arm bar once again. And instead of trying to go for the arm bar, he plays it safe. He takes his back. And Makhachev ended up keeping him there for the rest of the round. Tom Aspinall was the one that took him down, but this ended up going to a decision.
28, 30-27, 29-28. Declaring the winner by unanimous decision, Islam Makhachev.
Okay, in this next fight, we got Justin Gaethje taking on Sergey Papovich. 2 brawlers. This one should be a fun one. But Sergey, he didn't want to stand up with Gaethje. He shoots a takedown right off the bat. Gaethje stuffs it and lets him right back up. Sergey ended up clinching with Gaethje. He shot a double leg. He took down Gaethje, but Gaethje ended up reversing position. And then after like a minute, Sergey ended up reversing position right back. And then Sergey, he ended up posturing up. He was letting some shots go. Justin Gaethje, he ended up reversing position. And then Sergey reversed position right back and kept him there for the rest of round 1. Starting off round 2, Gaethje came out swinging. Sergey came out swinging too. Gaethje in with an uppercut. And then Sergey ended up shooting a takedown once again. I don't know why in this game Sergey turns to a wrestler, but he wrestles every single fight. But Gaethje ended up letting him up. But when Sergey got up, he wasted no time. He's sticking to the game plan. He ends up taking down Justin Gaethje. But this time he tries to actually do something with it. He goes for an armbar. He takes down Justin Gaethje's stam. And then he goes for the armbar and he gets it. He doesn't get too much out of it because his submissions ain't too good. But he kept him there for the rest of round 2. Round 3, Sergey, he starts off, he slips a shot, shoots a takedown, just in case he does stuff it. And then he came out swinging, he landed some big hooks and had Sergey on the back foot. Then Gaethje, he came rushing in, he goes for a body kick, Sergey lands 2 hooks, he rocks him, he sits him down and gets another finish out of nowhere. And that brings us to the final matchup of the day. We got 2 Russians taking on each other, Makhachev versus Papovich. Now we're going to start it off, round 1. I'm pretty sure Papovich ain't going to be shooting takedowns in this one, but Islam does. He shoots a takedown, gets him down right away. He tries to go for a Von Blue choke, but Sergey was able to get out of it. But Islam, he ended up taking top mount. He was letting some shots go. He rocked him with a big elbow. At some point, he ended up taking his back. He tries to go for a rear naked choke. Sergey, he got out of it, but that was the rest of round 1. Now we get into round 2. Islam starts off. He shoots a takedown. He gets him down. He goes for a triangle. Sergey wasn't able to defend it. Islam, he locked in the triangle. He almost got him with a one-shot submission, if you look at his submission bar. After another minute on the ground, he went to top mount again. He ended up going for the arm bar. He got like 2 minutes to work with, too. He runs down Sergey's stam all the way, but he ends up taking his back instead. But after he took his back, after another minute in the round, he put him in a crucifix with like 20 seconds left. He ended up switching it to an arm triangle. And with only like 6 seconds left in round 2, he goes for the submission. He gets it. Sergey was not able to defend it. And there you have it. On the most dangerous fighters in the UFC, Islam, he ran through the tournament. He had a first round sub, 2 dominant decisions, and then he submits Sergey Papovich in round 2 to win the champion of the most dangerous fighter. Okay, I appreciate y'all. More tournaments coming soon. These take a lot more time for editing and stuff. And that's why the upload's been a little iffy, but I hope y'all enjoyed. I'm out.